What's going on, guys? A while ago I made my vinyl collection video, but I have expanded so much since then that I feel I have the need to go through the new albums I've got over the past, I think I made that in May, so it's been like almost a year. It's been 10 months. So you may notice why I don't have my usual albums up there. They're coming. I am going to go through those ones first since they don't have covers, and that's part of the reason I hang them on the wall. It is not just for show, but yeah, let's just get right into it. First one we got, Room on Fire by The Strokes. The fact that people have the audacity to call this album a sophomore slump is just beyond me, because I think this project is even better than Is This It. They take all the things they did well on Is This It and just improved all of them. It has some of the best solos from The Strokes, and Julian Casablancas is just one of my favorite personal artists of all time, so anything he sings on I'm gonna love, but Room on Fire is incredible. Back on the wall it goes. Next up we got Carly Rae Jepsen's Emotion. This album is near and dear to my heart. Carly has been my woman crush for a while now. She's amazing. This album really started the revitalization of that 80s revival sound in pop, and when you listen to this you'll understand what I mean. The Weeknd's doing it now, a bunch of other artists have followed it, and it's really great. I'm glad it's making a comeback, but this has some very happy ballads on it. People need to stop just labeling pop music is bad, just writing it off as bad, because this album, The Weeknd's newest album, are proof that pop isn't always bad. So give Carly's album a listen. In the Aeroplane Over the Sea, an obvious classic that if you're watching this, I'm sure you know this album, so I'm not really going to go into depth here. Just an amazing classic folk rock project. Jeff Mangum's a genius, everybody knows it. Next up we got Always with Anti-Socialites. This album, the first time I heard it, I liked it right off the bat, just like that. It's a dream pop project mixed with some twee, I guess I would say, and mostly jangle pop in there too. Really good riffs. I love Molly Rankin's voice. I think she's a fantastic front woman for the band. You got happy songs like Plimsoll Punks and Saved by a Wave, but then you got relationship ballads like the opening track in Undertow and Dreams Tonight, and it's a really good album to listen to at night, so yeah. Next, I got Paramore's most recent album, I believe. I know Hayley's released a couple, but this is the actual band's latest release. And it saw them moving in quite a different direction. They took a power pop approach to it with some synth pop, dance pop, moved away from the emo sound that they were a staple of for so many years, and I think there were some pretty mixed reviews for this, but I think it worked for them in their favor. Even though I liked their previous work, honestly, I think After Laughter is their best album. I mean, Hard Times is such an epic opener. Rose Colored Boy follows it up well. Forgiveness is a really introspective track from Hayley, and Pull is great too, so the list just goes on and on. After Laughter is a great project. Next, we got Bandwagon-esque by Teenage Fanclub. And it's funny that this one gets brought up because this album right here, the Always album I just talked about, most of the members in that band are huge fans of Teenage Fanclub, and it's easy to see why after listening to this music compared to theirs. I would say that thematically they're pretty different, but the guitar riffs are pretty similar. I can definitely hear similarities there, but this is I think it's a pretty classic power pop project that people know. If you're into the genre, if you haven't noticed, I'm pretty big into power pop. I'm a big fan, so yeah, it just has that youthful feel to it. Great guitar riffs, and the closing track is my favorite instrumental song ever. We got Bon Iver for Am I Forever Ago, his first project where Justin Vernon essentially went to the woods, made the album, and came back and became a sensation in folk music. Just a really beautiful project, perfect for the winter, but I know winter's wrapping up, so you better listen to it quick. Next, we got MBV by My Bloody Valentine, an album that I did an unboxing for a while ago. It's not as good as Loveless, but it still feels like a My Bloody Valentine album. There are a couple tracks that I could have done without, but listen, I will take any new My Bloody Valentine music that I can get. So, yeah, I do enjoy this project. More Strokes, the new Abnormal, their newest project, which honestly I am really leaning towards it being their best. Every song on here is a 9 or better, and I mean that, except for maybe Eternal Summer, just because it goes on a little too long, but I still think the content of it is incredible. It's just, man, sad song after sad song. You get kind of a banger with Brooklyn Bridge, and all the stuff they do, the way the guitar is like mixed with a phaser in Why Are Sundays So Depressing is incredible. And if the Strokes were to never make an album again, Ode to the Mets would be the perfect song for them to end their careers with. Next, we got MF Doom, Food. I got this after he passed away, but I had been looking for it for years prior to that, and I finally found it at the record store I like going to. Personally, I enjoy this more than Mad Villainy. I just think it's a little more consistent. I know there's like a stretch with 3 instrumentals, but I don't think they go on too long. Rap Snitch Niches is amazing. The production throughout the whole album is amazing. The way Doom is rapping about food as a metaphor is amazing, and this really just goes to show how great he was, how creative he was. I think I'll say he was probably the most creative rapper of all time, and super influential all of hip-hop, and he's going to be missed for a very long time. Next, we have Pavement with Crooked Rain, Crooked Rain. Pavement, over the last few years of my life, has become one of my favorite bands. I never really listened to 90s music a couple years ago, but I got super into it when I got into My Bloody Valentine. I started checking out bands like Built to Spill, and then Built to Spill led me to Pavement. And I love the nostalgia there is to this. Even though I wasn't a 90s kid, I was a year off being a 90s kid. But yeah, I love this. I love Gold Sounds. I love Elevate Me Later. I forget the lead singer's name, but he just has a way of singing that makes you feel like a teenager again. I'm only 21, but still teenhood feels so long ago. Next, Beach House Zebra, another album Beach House Teen Dream, another album I have been looking for since the start of my record collecting. This is one of the most essential albums for indie of all time. You hear it now with so many indie artists. They try to copy the minimalist style Beach House had on this album, and it's just become so old at this point, but when Beach House does it, I love it, and this was really the first of its kind. They kind of revitalized Dream Pop, because ever since the Cocteau Twins and Slowdive had a hiatus, Beach House kind of carried that torch and revitalized it. So yeah, amazing classic album by Beach House here. Speaking of Slowdive, we have Souvlaki. I was so excited to find this at the record store about a month ago. This is my second favorite shoegaze album of all time. Yeah, I'm basic. My Bloody Valentine's, Loveless, and this are my favorite shoegaze albums, but really, what else is there to pick from? It's never been done better than these two, and I think the songwriting on this is better than Loveless. I would say the instrumentation isn't as cool or as precise as Loveless, but it works in a way that benefits Slowdive because the storytelling really shines, and it's just an amazing album. I do wish there was kind of a better cover, but I guess it's become kind of iconic at this point that it doesn't matter. Moving right along, we have Boards of Canada with Giogatti, and the first time I ever heard anything from this album is when I watched Salad Fingers and heard Beware the Friendly Stranger, and it was a very disturbing song, so I went and checked out this album, and it's way more disturbing than Salad Fingers ever was. It has like the creepiest nostalgia feel. You know, if you're a Call of Duty fan and you played COD 4, whenever the nuke hits and then you like hear the kids like screaming whenever you're crawling through the playground, that's what this album reminds me of, and it freaks me out, but it's also incredible that they were able to create this feeling so well inside me. Next we have Massive Attack with Mezzanine. This is the coolest trip-hop album I've ever heard, and I knew about Neil Davidge, or Davidge, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I knew about him from the Halo 4 soundtrack, so when I heard that he worked with Massive Attack, I was like, that's interesting, because I played Halo 4 before I ever knew who Massive Attack was. But this is super dark, super grimy. but also really clean for its time. I believe it came out in '98, and you had them and Portishead were really the pioneers of trip hop. And as good as Portishead is, I think Massive Attack did it better, more exciting. Although I know Portishead was going for a more low-key sound. But yeah, Dissolved Girl, Angel, Rising Sun, every song on this is just ridiculous. The best album for a late night drive ever, if you're driving through like a dark alley or something. Moving along, we have Daft Punk's Discovery. Oh, I love this album so much. And when I heard the news that Daft Punk broke up, I was just heartbroken. But at least we have a bunch of albums to keep ourselves occupied with. One More Time, so fun. Aerodynamic guitar lick is just crazy. Digital Love is fun. Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, the song that Kanye would go on to sample and popularize, is incredible. The fourth song stretch from High Life, Something About Us, Voyager, and Verity Quo, that is one of the best stretches of songs ever. Face to Face is great too. I have nothing negative to say about this. Next, we have a pretty underrated album, Fourth Wanderer's self-titled project. Lead vocalist Ava Trilling is fantastic on this, and I don't really know what genre you'd consider this other than indie rock. You could call it like sad pop, power pop, if that was even possible, but that's as close as I can get to describing this. It's a super depressing breakup album, but really good. It has jams on it too. I mean, it's like one of those sad albums that also kind of slaps, if you catch my drift. Moving on, we have Elliot Smith with XO. Not my favorite Elliot album, but I decided to pick it up anyway. It's cleaner than Either Or, but it has some really... The thing about this album is the highlights are really high, but some of the songs are a little bit too average for me. Blood White is awesome. Baby Britain's awesome. Waltz No. 2 is one of the best songs Elliot ever wrote. And yeah, I mean, it's a good album overall. Next, we have more Daft Punk with Random Access Memories, their final album of all time, apparently. Hopefully it's just a marketing scheme. But this one's great too. Kind of nostalgic for me to hear Get Lucky again, even though it was only out 8 years ago. There's like 2 duds on here, but the rest of it is amazing. I like how they gave the robotic personalities more personality on this one, with songs like Within and The Game of Love, and it just made the Daft Punk duo feel more human. Next, we have Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco, another essential indie rock album, and this one had Wilco kind of reinventing themselves as more of an indie rock band than the alt-country band they were before this. They still have some of their alt-country roots on this, like you could hear it on songs like Jesus, etc., and it still has the acousticness of a Wilco album, but thematically, it's incredible. Jeff Tweedy, another genius inside my vinyl collection, but this album's really close to my heart, and I don't know, it just feels like a really American album, especially with a song like Ashes of American Flags. It's so hard to describe what this album sounds like, but it's just a really good indie rock album. Next, we have Modal Soul by Nujabus. Rest in peace to him. He's one of my favorite producers ever. He passed away in 2010 in a motorcycle accident, but produced some of the most beautiful hip-hop and jazz rap ever. He never rapped or anything, but he did all the production. This album has songs that really touch me, like Lovesick Part 3, Reflection Eternal. It's the most introspective album I've heard without needing words to be introspective, and it's really relaxing too, calming. He really perfected his work on this one. Next, we have Elliot Smith, Either Or, Don't Mind the Crying Thing. It's from a different album that I already went over in my first project, but yeah, this is Elliot's best, easily. Songs like Say Yes, Rose Parade. I really like the drums in Rose Parade. Elliot's songwriting is top-notch on this. The fact that he said he doesn't even really write songs, he kind of just makes a instrumentation thing and then writes to that, which I think is really cool. I mean, the ideas on this were super different than most of the singer-songwriter albums at the time, And yeah, I think it's incredible. Now we have another Slowdive album, Just for a Day, and honestly I haven't really listened to this one enough to give you a lot of insight on it, but I remember it being much darker than Savlaki, and I think it was a little bit noisier too. And last but not least, we have Father John Misty with Pure Comedy. Another album in my collection that I haven't listened to much, but I heard so many great things about that I decided to get it. And in the first couple songs, he sounds like a lot like Elton John, and I do like the instrumentation in it. The content, the story is really cool, but I do need to give this one more listens before I can give you an actual review like I did all the other albums. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. I'll make another one of these once I have a bunch more records, but that's going to do it for now. I'll see you guys. Stay safe. Peace out.